Why do women start to dislike their husbands as they get older? The reason is very practical. Marriage is a journey, one that changes with time. What starts as excitement, passion, and deep admiration can, for many couples, shift into frustration, disappointment, or even resentment. Some women, after years of companionship, begin to feel distant from their husbands. But why does this happen? The reason is not just about emotions, it is deeply practical. As life evolves, so do expectations, priorities, and needs. If both partners do not grow together, a gap forms, and for many women, that gap feels impossible to close. However, understanding why this happens is the key to preventing it. If couples recognize these shifts early, they can work together to build a marriage that remains strong, supportive, and fulfilling, well into their later years. Let's explore the practical reasons why many women feel a growing sense of dissatisfaction in marriage as they age, and how couples can turn things around. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. Women outgrow the relationship, while men stay the same. At the beginning of a marriage, love feels limitless. A woman looks at her husband with admiration, seeing him as someone she will grow alongside, build a life with, and experience new things together. They dream of adventures, of building a home filled with laughter, of facing challenges as a team. In those early years, growth feels natural. Every day brings something new. New careers, new places, new memories, and for many, the shared experience of raising children. The couple evolves together, hand in hand, bound by the excitement of what's ahead. But time moves differently as we age. The years pass, the children leave, and life settles into routine. For many women, this stage of life brings a powerful transformation, an awakening. She begins to reflect on who she is beyond being a wife, a mother, a caregiver. She starts to see life not in terms of obligations, but in terms of opportunities. What dreams has she set aside? What passions has she ignored? With newfound wisdom and a clearer sense of self, she feels ready for the next chapter. And yet, she turns to her husband and finds that he is still the same. He still watches the same TV shows, tells the same stories, and follows the same daily patterns. The man who once excited her now seems stuck, uninterested in change, unwilling to explore new experiences. The conversations that once flowed so easily now feel repetitive, predictable, lifeless. She has grown mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but he has stayed in place. At first, she tries to bring him along in her journey. She suggests new activities, encourages him to try different things. "Let's take a trip," she says. "Let's start a new project together." But he shrugs it off. He is comfortable where he is. He sees no need to change. What once felt like compatibility now feels like stagnation. She is still moving forward, but she is moving forward alone. This is where resentment quietly takes root. Not because she no longer loves him, but because she no longer recognizes the man who once excited her. He is no longer a partner in her growth. He has become an anchor, holding her in place. And as time passes, she begins to feel something she never expected: loneliness, even in his presence. This is why so many women in long-term marriages feel emotionally detached. It is not that they suddenly dislike their husbands. It is that they slowly stop relating to them. Their inner world has expanded, while their husband's world has remained the same. And when two people stop growing together, they inevitably grow apart. But this doesn't have to be the end. A marriage can thrive at any stage if both partners are willing to evolve together. It requires effort, curiosity, and a shared commitment to never stop learning, not just about the world, but about each other. Couples who continue to explore life as partners, who challenge each other, try new things, and remain engaged, find that their connection deepens rather than fades. For men, this means stepping outside of their comfort zone. It means being open to new ideas, new conversations, new ways of seeing their wives, not as the same young woman they married, but as the person she is becoming. It means asking, "What excites you these days?" and truly listening. It means embracing change rather than resisting it. For women, it means expressing their needs, their desires, and their vision for the future with honesty and clarity. It means refusing to shrink themselves to fit into an old version of their marriage. It means inviting their husbands to grow alongside them, not out of frustration, but out of love. Growth is not something that happens automatically. It is a choice. And the couples who choose to keep evolving together are the ones who find that love, even after decades, can still feel alive, exciting, and full of possibility. 2. The weight of emotional labor becomes too much. There is a quiet burden that many women carry in marriage, one that is rarely acknowledged yet deeply felt. It is the weight of responsibility, the constant mental checklist, the unseen emotional labor that holds a household, a family, and a marriage together. It is not just about the tasks that need to be done. It is about the endless anticipation of needs, the remembering, the planning, the caring. And over time, this invisible workload becomes too much. At the beginning of a marriage, responsibilities often feel shared, or at least manageable. Love makes small sacrifices feel effortless, and in the whirlwind of building a life together, a woman may take on these responsibilities willingly. Organizing holidays, managing household schedules, keeping track of birthdays, remembering the little things that make life run smoothly. But as the years go by, something changes. The responsibilities do not lessen. If anything, they grow. Yet, somehow, the balance shifts, and she finds herself carrying more and more while her husband carries less and less. It is not just about chores. It is about the emotional weight of making sure everything runs smoothly. While he may assume that financial contribution is enough, she knows that money alone does not hold a family together. Someone has to think ahead. Someone has to make sure the family stays connected. Someone has to notice what needs to be done. And more often than not, that someone is her. At first, she does not resent it. She tells herself that this is just the way things are, that it is easier to handle things herself than to ask for help. But with time, the imbalance becomes impossible to ignore. She watches as her husband moves through life without the same mental load, without the same exhaustion. He does not worry about whether the bills have been paid on time, whether the grandkids' birthdays have been planned, or whether aging parents need extra care. He does not feel the constant mental weight of responsibility that she carries every single day. And slowly, resentment starts to take root. It is not that he is a bad man. It is not that he does not love her. It is that he does not see what she carries. He does not understand the exhaustion that comes from decades of holding everything together. And as the years pass, she begins to feel something new, unseen, unappreciated, alone. She wonders, when did I stop being his partner and start being the manager of our lives? This is how love quietly erodes, not through one big moment, but through thousands of small moments where one person feels unseen. A woman who once felt deeply connected to her husband now feels more like his caretaker, his organizer, his silent support system. She is not angry, but she is tired. She does not want to ask to be appreciated. because appreciation should not have to be asked for. She does not want to remind him to notice her efforts because love should mean noticing without being told. And then comes the most painful realization. She is doing all of this for someone who doesn't even realize it. So, what happens next? For many women, this is the turning point, the moment they either withdraw emotionally or demand change. Some begin to pull away, investing their energy into their friendships, their grandchildren, their personal interests. Others finally voice what they have been feeling for years. I need help. I need partnership. I cannot carry this alone anymore. For men, this is a crucial moment of choice. A marriage can survive many things, disagreements, hardships, even distance, but it cannot survive one person feeling unseen. If a husband is willing to listen, to truly see what his wife carries, then healing can begin. It starts with simple things: noticing, appreciating, stepping up, not waiting to be asked, but actively participating, not assuming she will handle things, but making the choice to share the load. A marriage is not just about love, it is about partnership. And true partnership means standing side by side, not letting one person carry the weight alone. For women, the deepest desire is not for grand gestures or extravagant gifts. It is for recognition, respect, and relief. A simple, I see what you do and I appreciate it, can mend wounds that have been years in the making. A genuine effort to contribute, not just with words but with action, can rekindle the connection that time and imbalance have worn down. In the end, love is not just about what we feel, it is about what we do. And when both partners choose to truly see each other, to support each other, and to share the invisible burdens of life, a marriage does not just survive, it thrives. 3. Aging brings different emotional and physical needs. Time changes everything: the way we see the world, the way we move through life, and most importantly, the way we love and connect with those closest to us. In a marriage, aging does not just bring gray hair and wrinkles. It brings a shift in needs, desires, and expectations. What once felt fulfilling may no longer be enough. The way a couple connected in their youth may not be the way they need to connect now. And when these changing needs go unspoken or unmet, a quiet distance begins to form. For many women, the later years of life bring a deep craving for emotional intimacy, not just companionship, but real, meaningful connection. A woman who has spent decades raising children, managing a home, and balancing responsibilities now longs for something more: to be heard, to be seen, to be understood. She no longer wants surface-level conversations about the weather or what's on TV. She wants depth. She wants her husband to ask how she truly feels, to listen with intention, to care about the small details of her inner world. But too often, she finds herself sitting across from a man who does not see the shift happening within her. He still assumes that presence equals connection, that sitting in the same room watching the evening news is enough. He does not realize that what she craves is engagement, curiosity, emotional closeness. She wants to share stories, explore new ideas, and feel like she is still growing alongside the person she has spent a lifetime with. But instead, she feels alone in the marriage, not because her husband has changed, but because he hasn't. At the same time, physical intimacy shifts as well. A woman's body changes with age, menopause, hormonal fluctuations, new aches and pains. The way she experiences touch, desire, and closeness is different from how it was when she was young. But instead of having an open conversation about these changes, many couples avoid the topic altogether. She may feel reluctant to bring it up, afraid that he won't understand or that he will take it as rejection. He, in turn, may misinterpret her changes as disinterest, withdrawing further instead of asking what she needs. This silent misunderstanding can build walls between two people who once shared everything. A husband may assume that his wife no longer wants intimacy, while she feels frustrated that he does not realize that what she wants is not less intimacy, but different intimacy. She wants gentleness, slowness, affection that is not rushed or expected. She wants to be held without it leading to something more, kissed without an agenda, touched in a way that makes her feel cherished, not just desired. And yet, many men struggle to understand this shift. They have spent their lives expressing love through physical connection. And when that connection changes, they feel lost. Instead of adapting, they withdraw, making their wives feel even more emotionally distant. And so a cycle begins, one where both partners feel unfulfilled, yet neither knows how to fix it. But the truth is, love is not about staying the same. Love that lasts is love that adapts. It is love that grows and transforms to meet the evolving needs of both partners. A marriage that thrives in later years is not one that clings to the past, but one that embraces the present, one where both people are willing to ask, listen, and change together. For men, this means stepping into emotional intimacy in ways they may never have before. It means asking real questions, having deep conversations, and showing affection in ways that are meaningful to their wives. It means understanding that a woman's desire for connection is not just physical, it is mental, emotional, and spiritual. For women, it means having the courage to express their needs clearly without fear of hurting their husband's feelings. It means saying, I still love you, but I need something different now, and trusting that the right partner will listen. It means prioritizing closeness in new ways, through shared experiences, through affection, through laughter and joy. Aging does not have to mean losing the spark in a marriage. It can mean rediscovering love in a deeper, more profound way. The couples who hold hands through the later years are not the ones who never faced change. They are the ones who faced it together, with open hearts and willing hands. 4. Loneliness creeps in, even in marriage. Loneliness is not just the absence of people, it is the absence of connection. And for many women in long-term marriages, this is the loneliest stage of life. Not because they are physically alone, but because they feel emotionally abandoned by the person who was supposed to be their closest companion. In the beginning, marriage is full of conversation, laughter, and shared dreams. A young couple spends hours talking about everything, their hopes, their struggles, their future. There is always something new to discover about each other, always a reason to reach out and connect. But as the years pass, as routines solidify and responsibilities take over, those deep conversations become rare. Instead of talking about life, couples talk about logistics. What's for dinner? Did you pay the bills? When is the grandkid's birthday? The emotional depth that once existed is slowly replaced by surface-level interactions. At first, she does not notice. Life is busy, filled with children, work, family obligations. But as she grows older, as the noise of daily life quiets down, she begins to feel the silence between them. The man who once asked how her day was, who once noticed the little things about her, now barely looks up from the TV. The connection she once felt so deeply has faded into habit, into routine, into a relationship that is more about coexistence than companionship. This is where the loneliness creeps in, not all at once, but gradually, like a slow fog rolling over what was once a clear and vibrant love. She still shares a home with him, still eats meals at the same table, still sleeps beside him at night, and yet she feels unseen. She feels like a ghost in her own marriage. She is still there, but he is not looking. She is still talking, but he is not listening. And after years of trying to reach for him, she stops reaching. And then comes the worst part, the realization that she is happier when he is not around. Not because she does not love him, but because being near someone who does not truly see her is more painful than being alone. She finds comfort in friendships, in books, in activities that remind her that she is still alive, interesting, full of ideas and feelings. She begins to seek out places where she is heard, valued, and appreciated. And when she comes home, she finds herself looking at him and wondering, when did we stop being us? When did we become just two people living side by side? For many women, this is not a crisis of love, but a crisis of connection. They do not want to leave their husbands. They simply want to feel close again. They want to feel like they are still partners, still learning about each other, still engaged in each other's inner worlds. But here's the heartbreaking truth. Most men do not even realize their wives feel this way. They assume that because they are still present, because they still share meals in a home, everything is fine. They do not recognize that their wives are emotionally starving while sitting right beside them. And unless something changes, that quiet loneliness will only deepen. So, what can be done? It starts with awareness, with recognizing that presence is not the same as connection. A husband must actively choose to engage, to ask real questions, to listen with intention, not just how was your day, but what have you been thinking about lately? What's been making you happy? What's been on your heart? The smallest moments of genuine curiosity can reignite a connection that has been fading for years. It continues with effort, with showing appreciation, making small gestures, bringing warmth back into the marriage, a gentle touch on the shoulder, a compliment, a moment of eye contact that says, I still see you. Love does not have to be grand to be meaningful. Sometimes it is in the smallest acts of attention that love is felt the deepest. For women, it means speaking up, not with anger, not with blame, but with honesty. I miss feeling close to you. I miss the way we used to talk. I don't want us to just be roommates. I want us to be partners again. Vulnerability is hard, but it is the bridge back to intimacy. Loneliness does not have to be the end of a marriage. It can be the wake-up call that saves it. Because love is not just about staying together. It is about continuing to choose each other every single day. And when both partners make that choice, even after decades together, even after time has worn down the edges of who they once were, they can find something even deeper than what they had in the beginning. They can find a love that has been tested, reshaped, and made stronger. A love that does not just survive, but truly thrives. 5. The loss of mutual respect and appreciation. Respect is the foundation of love. It is what allows a couple to weather the storms of life together, to build a bond that is unshakable, to look at each other after decades and still feel admiration. But something happens in many long-term marriages, something subtle, something slow. Respect fades, appreciation disappears, and what remains is a relationship that feels more like an obligation than a choice. It does not happen overnight. In the beginning, both partners make an effort. They say thank you for the little things. They compliment each other. They express gratitude in ways both big and small. A wife feels seen when her husband notices the effort she puts into making a home, raising children, managing the invisible burdens of life. A husband feels valued when his contributions are acknowledged, when his strengths are admired. But over time, the noticing stops. The thank yous become less frequent. The admiration turns into expectation. Instead of feeling valued, a woman begins to feel like everything she does is taken for granted. She cooks, she cleans, she remembers birthdays and anniversaries. She makes sure the home runs smoothly, not because she wants recognition, but because it has to be done. But there is a difference between doing something willingly and doing something while feeling invisible. And when her efforts go unnoticed year after year, something inside her begins to harden. At first, she brushes it off. She tells herself that this is just how long-term relationships are. But deep down, she feels it. The slow erosion of respect. The sense that her husband no longer sees her as a woman to be cherished, but as someone who will always be there, no matter how little effort he puts in. She watches as he speaks to others with kindness, with enthusiasm, with interest. Yet, with her, his words are short, his tone impatient, his gaze distant. She listens to how he talks about her to friends or family, as if she is nothing more than a wife who nags, a woman who complains, a person who exists to serve. And then one day, she realizes something painful. She would never speak about him that way. This is where the deepest resentment begins, not from arguments, not from big betrayals, but from the slow, silent realization that respect has disappeared. She remembers the man who once looked at her with admiration, who made her feel like she was the most important person in the world. She remembers how he used to listen when she spoke, how he used to value her thoughts, how he used to make her feel like she was more than just a role, more than just the wife. And she wonders, where did that man go? And then, a second realization, he has not changed, he simply stopped trying. This is the point where many women emotionally withdraw. They stop trying to impress, stop trying to connect, stop feeling the need to express love in ways that go unreturned. And the worst part, men often do not notice until it is too late. They assume everything is fine, that marriage is simply routine, that as long as there is no outright conflict, there is no problem. But what they fail to see is that a woman does not fall out of love all at once. She falls out of love in pieces every time she feels unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. But this does not have to be the end of the story. Respect and appreciation are not things that disappear forever. They can be rebuilt, but only if both partners are willing to recognize the problem. A husband who truly values his marriage must ask himself, when was the last time I told her I appreciate her? When was the last time I looked at her, not just glanced, but really looked, and saw the woman she still is? When was the last time I made her feel admired, not just needed? Small gestures can make a world of difference. A genuine compliment, a heartfelt thank you, a moment of attentiveness when she speaks. These things cost nothing but mean everything. And for a woman who has spent years feeling invisible, the act of being truly seen again can reignite something that she thought was lost. For women, this realization can be empowering. You do not have to settle for being unseen. You do not have to accept that love must fade into indifference. Speak up. Express your needs. Tell your husband what makes you feel valued, what makes you feel respected, what makes you feel like a woman, not just a role to be filled. And if he listens, if he makes the effort, if he chooses to see you again, then you will know that love is still there. It's simply needed to be awakened, because in the end, love is not just about staying together. It is about continuing to choose each other every single day. And when respect and appreciation return, love does not just survive, it thrives. Final thoughts. Keeping love alive in later years. A woman doesn't wake up one day and decide to dislike her husband. The disconnect happens gradually as years of unmet needs, silent frustrations, and emotional gaps build up. But here's the good news: it is never too late to rebuild connection. A marriage that evolves, one where both partners grow, adapt, and continue to cherish each other, can remain joyful and fulfilling even into the later years of life. The key? Intentional effort. The best relationships are not the ones that avoid difficulties. They are the ones that face them, talk about them, and work together to overcome them. It's time to make the later years the most rewarding years of marriage. Are you ready? These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.